Giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live, presented by Freeman Mazda Hyundai, streaming live on YouTube, Facebook. I am your host, Will Skywalker Steele. Boom! Hey, Derek, you ain't new to this. You true to this. We here, baby. We here. We live. And today, listen, y'all. The press conference was cringy. It is what it is. What we'll do on this show today is we will try to sift through the weeds of the drama and try to pull out the football stuff as much as we can from a cringe-worthy press conference. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. Also, I think week one got a little bit juicy. So we're going to talk about week one just a tad bit. I don't want to get ahead of schedule, but I feel like I want to talk about that just a little bit due to the signing that all you guys know that happened. But training camp, first day of practice begins today at 1:30 Central, I believe. So whatever the time is over there on the East Coast and whatever the time is on Pacific, I think it's 2:30 East Coast then. And then Pacific, I think it's like 11:30, something like that. So if you're wanting to set your alarms and your reminders, do so, because it'll be all over Twitter. It'll be videos and things like that. So I know I will be. I'm excited for just some actual footage of Dallas Cowboys football and not just talking at the press conference, which we'll get to again here in a second. But yeah, very interesting day yesterday, and I got some opinions on that. But we'll get to it. First up, though, Bomb Squad! Shout out to the squad in the building. I see y'all in here today ready to talk some Dallas Cowboys. Not really football, but there is some football-related stuff that we can sift through. Before I do that, man, I'm going to put the music on. Our roundup is going to be a little bit later today. It'll be a little bit later today, and that's okay. And when I say later, I mean it's just going to take a little bit to get there, because I definitely want to talk about the Buccaneers signing wide receiver Julio Jones and kind of wrap it all into the Dallas Cowboys and eventually Micah Parsons. So yesterday they went out and they signed Julio Jones. Cowboys fans have been talking about wanting to sign Julio Jones or Will Fuller, right? Those are the two big name wide receivers the Cowboy fans have been bringing up. And let me mute these phone lines real quick before somebody come in. Here we go. Here's the thing about the Julio Jones signing for Tampa. As a football fan, I love it. Here's the thing in regards to being a Cowboy reporter, whatever you want to call me, broadcaster. I'm definitely a fan first. I have fandom outside of the actual Dallas Cowboys. I love the game of football. And if I was doing a NFL podcast, I'd be talking about this even more in depthly. But I love this as a football fan because I look at it as a win-win for Tampa. Julio Jones is going to start off as your wide receiver 2, eventually move to wide receiver 3 when Chris Godwin gets back. That's fine. That's fine for Tampa. They're not relying on Julio Jones to take them over the hump. And once Chris Godwin gets back, it just helps their wide receiver depth. Julio probably only going to give you like 8 games. The thing with Tom is I've seen Tom Brady be able to take guys like Julio Jones and worse and get by with them and, hell, win some championships with them. So if I'm a Tampa fan, I'm not looking at this like we in Dallas Cowboys land would, right? I'm pretty sure in Dallas Cowboys land, Dallas signs Julio Jones. We get upset. He's old. He's washed up. He's going to miss games, blah, 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 blah. If I'm Tampa, I'm like, great, cool, no win-win. If he plays, great, awesome. If he doesn't, it's not going to really affect our season, I don't believe so. So looking at it from the Tampa aspect, good stuff for Tampa. They addressed the position with the receiver who was hurt that they wanted to add in for camp and see what happens. Good for them. With that said, we want the smoke. Week 1, remember I said this last year. Week 1, all bets are off. Everybody wrote the Cowboys off. No chance to beat Tom Brady in Tampa and all this and all that. And it came down to a bogus penalty and a field goal. Oh, I feel so much better about week 1 this year. So much better about week 1 this year for a multiple number of reasons. Julio Jones or not, I can give a damn. And again, I'm going to try my hardest not to get too far ahead. It's July. Yeah, we talking about in September 11th. It's July. But the reason why I'm so excited to play Tampa Bay's offense in week 1 this year ain't got nothing to do with Tampa. Everything to do with Micah Parsons. That's one person. Yeah, it's one person, but he's a different type of person, number one. Number two, I also like where we're at on the back end. I talked about this on Vacha's show yesterday. I like where we're at on the back end compared to where we were at week 1 last year. You're talking about year 2 of Dan Quinn, year 2 of some of these other young guys. It's just a different year, a different vibe, a more confident team going into that season. But Micah Parsons, that is the main reason why I'm excited about facing this team week 1. He won't be used like he was used last year. Last year, opening the game, first game of his career, right? Of course, Tom Brady was going to try to take advantage of him, especially when you drop him back as much as he did. Micah dropped back 29 times last year. 29 times in the opening week. Third most all season. If there was a team where you don't want Micah Parsons week 1 or early in his career to drop back, if there was a quarterback you didn't want, to go against where Micah's in pass coverage early in his career, it's Tom Brady. And we did that. Maybe because we didn't know yet how to use Micah Parsons, right? We didn't know his abilities until the injuries happened and whatnot. Oh, that's a different story this year. And Mike McCarthy is going to talk about it later in the presser. We'll play an audio clip from it. But it's a different story this year, Cowboys Nation. An entirely different story this year. You won't see Micah Parsons drop back 29 times. You just won't. Greg Cosell, he went on NFL Network. What is it called? NFL Today. I can't remember exactly what it was. Total Access. He went on Total Access. And he talked about Micah Parsons and how he believes Micah Parsons is the best edge rusher in the NFL. Listen to Greg Cosell talk about that real quick. He briefly touches on week 1, very briefly. And then he talks about, how will the Cowboys utilize him is the big question. We'll listen to Greg and then we'll comment on that and then we'll hit the roundup. Or y'all can't hear Greg Cosell at all. So give me a second real quick. Let me figure this out. And I don't know why that's not playing. Well, there we go. That's why, because it went down.
MJ, that's a great question. And what we'll find out, we may not find out until we get to the opening game of the season against the Bucs, is how they plan to use him. I thought when they moved him essentially to defensive end a year ago due to injury, I thought he was the best edge pass rusher in the NFL for about a 5 or 6 week period. And then, of course, players came back from injury, and they did not use him that way quite as much. So I'm curious as to what they'll do, because this year they're going to get back a draft choice from a year ago, Jabril Cox out of LSU, who was essentially a sub-package linebacker. But they also drafted Sam Williams in the 2nd round, and he's an edge rusher. And he was the only edge rusher I saw last year on tape in college who got the better of Charles Cross from Mississippi State. So we'll see what they do with Micah Parsons. We know he's a dynamic player, but I think he's truly at his best as an edge pass rusher, and I'm curious to see if they'll use him that way on 3rd down and in long yardage situations.
Yeah, it's sort of a double-edged sword, because the great thing about Parsons is that he's so versatile. He can be put in so many different positions, but where is the best one, the most efficient one for their top success on defense? Now,
they both touched on something at the very end there. Greg Cosell said, will they utilize him on second and longs and third downs? Absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind Micah Parsons is going to be used in that way this year. And then she mentioned, where would be the most efficient way to use Micah? I'm going to ask this question here real quick, and I think I know the answer, but I personally believe the most efficient way to utilize him is to continue to use him as a wild card type of guy. But I get from a fan standpoint where some fans want to move him full-time to DE. I totally understand that. And if the Cowboys were equipped a little bit differently at the linebacker position, maybe I'd feel differently. But I'm going to ask you guys, Micah Parsons, linebacker, edge, or like me, both? Linebacker, edge, or both? As you guys answer this question in the chat, I'm going to tell you why I believe both. And I just kind of briefly touched on it. I just don't have the confidence in the linebacker room right now. And I'm gonna just call it straight up. LVE. That's what I'm gonna say. Because I don't think that Jabril Cox is that guy that you're gonna stick in the middle just quite yet. I think Greg Cosell went on to call Jabril Cox a sub-package linebacker. And right now, that's basically what he is until proven otherwise. Whereas LVE is the guy that's going to be out there in the middle that you're going to have to count on down in, down out to help stop the run, to cover the running backs out the backfield. Sometimes you got to cover a tight end. Hell, sometimes you're going to have to cover a wide receiver from time to time. I don't believe in LVE in that way. I don't believe in LVE to be that guy of Micah Parsons. So that's my reserve of moving him to a full-time edge rusher when you have a linebacker room the way it's faced, the way it looks like right now. Next year could be a different story, but if you look at the way they've equipped their team, one out and got Dante Fowler, one out and drafted Sam Williams in the second round. You get Dorrance Armstrong back. I don't believe they're planning to move Micah Parsons to full. They're definitely not planning to move him full time. But I don't believe they're anticipating using Micah Parsons at defensive end as much as they had to last year. In fact, I'd argue they're trying to combat that. That doesn't mean Micah Parsons will not be rushing the passer a lot this year. Two totally different things. Two totally different things. And that's something I'm excited to see in training camp. He's going to rush the passer. He might rush the passer more this year, but it may be from an unconventional way. And I think they're setting themselves up to make sure that Micah cannot be zeroed in on. And stay tuned. Coach briefly touches on that later on in the show. So thank you, Greg. Appreciate you, man. All right, let's get into the chat. I done bored y'all enough with my rambling. Let me see what y'all got to say here, man. Sports Guru, making Micah predominantly on the edge is blasphemy. Using him as a weapon is the move. Always keep the offense guessing where he's at. I agree with that at this moment right now. I wouldn't want to key him in on one spot. Both, says Everett, more than DE last year. Both from Jerome. What's up, Miss Sheila? Both, says James, but LVE. And Eagles are trash. Eagles are trash, says Bobby Wagner was supposed to be that guy. Had you put Bobby Wagner on this team, I'm trying to think about this. My apologies for the pause. That's terrible radio. If you put Bobby Wagner on this team, do you then move Micah Parsons to full-time right defensive end? It'd be a hard consideration for me, man. I'd have to really think about it. Thus, you would have not drafted Sam Williams in the second round. You could have used that second round elsewhere. I don't know. We're not going to do revisionist history. But it'd have been something to think about. Still could have got Damon Clark for next. It'd have been something to think about. That's all I'm going to say. But I like him in this role right now for this team as it stands to be both. You want to talk about later on in his career. You want to talk about next year, 2 years down the line when your linebacker room may look a little bit different. Sure, because we all understand that pass rusher is a premium position. So I'm not going to be naive to that. All right. Professor O, LVE, you're not that guy, pal. Where is you're not that guy, pal? What a name. Special K, both. Lemitra says, I don't care. Use him. You should care. Because if he's used at defensive end and your linebacker room is compromised, what's really going to change from last year? From a running standpoint, I mean, from a run defense standpoint, I think Micah is key in also helping the run defense. I truly do at linebacker as opposed to defensive end. Moving around, says Chris. So most people are predominantly in the use him everywhere part of this equation. And then pass rush, as Peasy says, on third. That's where I'm at with it. Let him rush on second and longs, third and longs, but early downs, he's going to need to be counted on to me as a linebacker. Nothing wrong with having a premier edge who demands all the attention. It's better for everyone else. Nothing wrong. Yeah, that's the thing. You know, I don't want anyone to look at this as if Micah was a premier edge rusher, which is a premium position, it'd be a problem. It could be a problem on this team this year, though, because you don't have that linebacker depth to combat that. I don't think you have it yet. That could change. You know, Steven talks about these young guys on this team. Maybe Jabril goes off. Maybe LVE goes off. Story Jackson, Devin Harper, what have you. All these guys could go off. But I think you'd be compromising your linebacker position if he was just a premier edge rusher. And this ain't just coming from me. Dan Quinn came out and said, nah, we don't want to put him at full-time full-time edge rusher because I had a guy that I did that with early on in his career, and I saw how you can scheme away from him. You can take him out the game because he's just lined up in one position. And what makes Micah so good is that I can use him all over the place. So this guy's unique. He's not your DeMarcus Lawrence where you have to put him at one spot. He can be elite at both. And that's something that, I mean, can somebody give me an answer? Who's the last guy that you could say that about who could legitimately play linebacker and legitimately rush the passer at an elite level? Got a lot of smart fans in the chat. Let me know who that is while I fix something right quick. Or how many players like that? Because I'm not saying he's the only one, but how many players like that are there? Fix you here. And there we go. All right, I had to fix something before we got to this roundup right quick. Okay, maybe I should rephrase this here. Not talking about I'm talking about off-ball linebackers, not outside linebackers in the 3-4. Those are pass rushers. So let me rephrase that. Off-ball line, and I shouldn't even just use it linebackers. I mean, it could be defense end, defensive tackle. It can be safety corner if guys are doing that in the game. Not 3-4 outside linebackers, which are pass rushers, because I see people are saying Clay Matthews and DeMarcus Ware. Clay he play a little bit inside too. DeMarcus Ware I would not put in that category. DeMarcus Ware is not an off-ball linebacker. He was a pass rusher in a 3-4. Clay is interesting because Clay did do some inside linebacker things, but he was not elite at it. He was better off being your outside linebacker, so I wouldn't put Clay there either. How many guys are elite at being an off-ball linebacker and a pass rusher? I don't know too many. Mel Hayes said Jamal Adams. He wasn't elite inside, King. He played. You know, hey man, he played corner. He wasn't good at it. And he played safety. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't an elite inside linebacker. Interesting. Darius Leonard. Darius Leonard is an elite cover linebacker. I don't know Darius as a pass rusher, so that could be a guy. I'm not sure. Troy Polamalu is a good one because Troy, I think no one's going to mistake Troy for Ed Reed as a cover guy, but he made plays in coverage. I'm not old enough to know about Hollywood Henderson, so I'm going to just take y'all words for that one. I'm not old enough about Hollywood. That's what I'm saying, man. Devin White's a good one. I think Devin White can pass rush pretty damn good. I think he had like 9 sacks the other year, and he plays off-ball line. So Devin White's a good one. Keith Brooks, I like that name there. I don't know. Keith Brooks Hall of Fame. I'm not about to sit here and say it. Keith Brooks Hall of Fame. Yeah, man, it's very, very short list. And I think Micah in today's game is at the top of it, and I don't even think it's particularly close. I do like Devondre Campbell. Good names, though. Good names, squad. Good names. So, yeah, I just wanted to get that one out there. And before we got into the roundup, because once we come out, we got to talk about this goddamn press conference. It feels like a chore at this point, but I'm going to try to do my best to get to the football aspect of it once we get through the bullcrap drama. So y'all hang tight. Y'all roll with me. We already deep up in here. I appreciate y'all. Let go.
It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It is time for...
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Oh, let's do it. Hey! For the first time, it feels like, you know, we got some juicy stuff to talk about. I shouldn't say juicy, but we got some actual things that we can get to y'all here in the roundup. First up on the docket, Michael Gehlken came out and kind of let us in on yesterday's camp activity, which normally would be a conditioning test. Somebody had asked me on Twitter, hey, Scott, when are they starting this and that? I say, hey, today's conditioning. Well, on the contrary, Gehlken said they're not doing the conditioning test this year because of the injuries that occurred last year. So this is the quote from him. Cowboys usually start training camp with a player conditioning test. After how last camp began, they decided against it, opting for agility work instead. If I'm not mistaken, it was Chauncey Golston who got injured in the conditioning test last year. A couple other guys, I believe, got nicked up. I don't know what that means, but it looks like they're erring on the side of caution and deciding to just do agility work at this point. I don't really have a hard take either way on that. If they felt like the conditioning test, I don't know what the drills were jeopardizing the guys early, and this is going to be a marathon here, okay. But I seen a lot of people on Twitter say, man, y'all soft. And I was like, damn, that's deep. So I don't got a hard opinion on either way. I think this is just probably more smart than it is about being soft. Y'all see Bees yesterday? Did y'all see this? Just out of nowhere, you know. Shout out to Roy White. He said, I wonder if Cole Beasley would want to be a Cowboy again. Beasley quote tweeted that, said, to play with Dak, I would. Cole Beasley got brought up in when he got cut. Will Fuller got brought up. Julio, all these veteran guys, Julio Jones get brought up. But Cole was the most interesting one because he played here already. His departure was extremely rough. Fan favorite when he was here. People hated what he had to say, even though it was true when he left. And then this is the part where this is why I don't think this is going to happen. The C-19 stuff. Like, can't we basically rule this out? Forget him being older. Forget him being a little bit banged up. Just flat out, it will be extremely hypocritical on one Jerry Jones to bring in Cole Beasley based off of that. Well, Sky, would you do it? Well, let me ask y'all. Would you pick up that phone to bring in a slot demon in Cole Beasley? Beggars can't be choosers, right? Asked me this question 3 months ago. No. Asked me this question now when James Washington was in the boot. Yeah, Michael Gallup's probably going to miss, a good bit. Be hard pressed not to pick it up, man. It really be hard pressed not to pick it up, especially because I know that Cole Beasley can come in here and instantly have a connection with Dak Prescott from the slot, man, and give you a slot advantage. But would I do it? I think, again, when we were talking about Will Fuller, we were talking about Julio Jones. I'll bring that conversation here to Cole Beasley and Will Fuller. I probably still go with Will Fuller at this point. If I'm going to get me an injury-prone guy, I'm not saying Cole's injury-prone, but he's banged up as he's older. I need a guy who I feel like I just don't have that in my room. Not saying James Washington is a slot demon like Cole, but I feel like I can do Cole Beasley slot things with James with a little bit more yak ability. I don't have a Will Fuller take the top off the defense type of guy. So if Cole is my only option, cool. But he ain't. And we finna talk about options in a quick second here. So I'd again rather go get me Will because I got a guy that can take the top off the defense. But if they sign a Cole Beasley, am I going to sit here and whine about it? Not at all. Would y'all bring in Cole Beasley? Dimitri, yes. Jay, for our own sake, let's get Cole a job. Here's the thing about it. According to the reports from NFL Network, Cole is not fishing for a job. He's being patient. There are a bunch of suitors that have reached out to Cole Beasley to come bring him in, but he wants to pick his own destination. So Trey says, nah. Jaws, come on, Cole. Colin says yes for veteran support. Nah, Cactus says no. James says I will bring in Cole Beasley back. He should have never left. Brandon, we definitely know about the protocols, but your owner. Professor says, nah, he burned the bridge. Adrian says I bring him in. We're split. It looks like we're split. King says I would do it. Yeah, the nation is pretty split on Cole Beasley here. I think I'd go with Will Fuller. Because here's my reasoning on it. I'm not looking at Cole nor Will Fuller to really be a feature in my offense. All right, when Michael Gallup gets back, I'm still rolling with CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Jalen Tolbert, James Washington. So if I'm like, who's my utility guy? Will Fuller gives me an aspect that Cole just can't. Cole not a deep threat dude. Will Fuller is. So if I need to bring in a guy for 15 plays a game, it'd be Will because I can get more bang for my buck. And honestly, I would want that guy to only play about 15 plays per game given their injury history. So Cole feels more redundant to me. But Cole want to come back, though. By the way, don't that say something about your quarterback? Guys just want to play with Dak Prescott. I'm just saying. They just want to play with Dak Prescott. And finally, we'll get to some of these opening camp presser takeaways. Now, before we get into what I consider the football takeaways, let's go ahead and touch on some of this drama stuff, which, again, I ain't staying on for a long time. And then, like old Coach Mike McCarthy said, I'm going to focus on football. Jerry Jones started off this press conference very spicy, is what I called it on Twitter. Very spicy. Like, Jerry been reading the press clippings. He's been listening to the fans. He hears how annoyed fan base is and how annoyed the press is with this offseason. And he made it a point to get on the defensive side of things, Cowboys Nation. He made that a point. He started it off by addressing the coaching rumors. Immediately shutting all that down, but also keeping the door cracked. Like this is so weird to me. He came out and basically said that I wouldn't be sitting here with Mike McCarthy if I didn't believe he's a guy to take us to the Super Bowl. And I say that in a sarcastic way because what? Okay, Jerry, sure. But in the same sentence, spoke out the side of his mouth and said, but I had options, or I have options. Well, yeah, we know that, Coach Jerry. You said that to us on camera. What I don't understand is his annoyance, his frustration, him being upset at the fan base and the media for running with certain things when he created that. You won in front of the cameras and said, Yeah, Dan Quinn could be the head coach of this team. Huh? Got a head coach. You constantly are giving attention to the Sean Payton situation. Why are you feeding into it? So when Jerry comes out and he's upset and he was firing on all cylinders, not even just for the coaching situation, but from, hey, here's the reason why we moved on from these three. No, why are we talking about that? This is camp right now. That was my thing when I looked at it as, you are not telling us anything that we already don't know in regards to that situation. The availability and this and all that. I came away from that during the press conference, looking at the situation, looking at Mike McCarthy just sitting there. You know, Mike lost some weight too. He looking real svelte. Mike's sitting there, you know. And I came away like, damn, I feel bad for Mike McCarthy. And I don't want to, because it's football at the end of the day, okay? But I felt bad for him because it felt like he was a hostage in a press conference he didn't want to be at. In fact, he kept saying, oh, me? Talking to me? This is Jerry's press conference. All right, sure, yeah, I'll talk. And it was uncomfortable for Mike McCarthy, in my opinion. I would love to see them do an opening press conference for just Mike, and an opening press conference with Jerry and Steven to talk all the drama and the nonsense that they want to talk about. Because that wasn't it to me. That wasn't it. Jerry literally spoke out both sides of his mouths in that press conference. And this is why y'all hardly ever see me play a Jerry Jones interview here. Because what am I going to gain from it? Nothing. And this has been me for years on Jerry Jones. I pretty much just kind of shut him out and just looked at him as a I don't want to say a talking head, right? But he's old, he's senile, he's Jerry Jones. Would love to talk to him as a person, but when it comes to the football aspect of things, I don't like to listen to what he got to say. I truly, truly don't. But the problem is he still is the guy at the top of that pyramid. And a bit hypocritical. He talked about how check the eyes at the door. I agree. In the same sentence, he said, well, when we made that decision, when I made that decision, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Cowboys Nation, how many owners are opening up their season like this? How many? So, you know, I'm not even going to sit here and get into him talking about this as a Super Bowl team and everybody. I'm not going to get into all that stuff. I said what I had to say yesterday on Vacha's show. I'm not about to give y'all angry sky about this. I'm not about to feed into the drama of every little detail that he had to say yesterday about it. I'm not about to do it. I'm not. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out some of these football things and we'll talk about that, because I'm at the end of my patience with them talking the same crap about how every year this is a Super Bowl team and we did our best. We tried our hardest. I know you didn't. Okay. So now let me listen to the coach who's going to talk football things about how he's going to try his best to put them in a position to win on the football field, because outside of that, that's done pretty much. Y'all pretty much showed us how you guys are moving from there. So we're going to pull out a lot of the football takes. And like Mike McCarthy said, we're going to focus on that. Okay. Before I do that, though, I'd be remiss if I didn't get into the chat and hear what y'all had to say about the drama aspect of what Jerry Jones had to say yesterday. And if you want to call in, you can. 351-999-3787 is a call-in line. But if you came here to get angry, Sky, about what Jerry Jones had to say yesterday, you're not getting it. I'm not going to give them that energy from me a day after. I'm not. It was a bullcrap press conference in regards to that aspect of it. It was so cringeworthy. It was ridiculous. And I digress. Jay said rambling about absolutely nothing. Yeah. Nah, Gregory, I'm good, bro. I'm chilling. No angry sky today, King Element. No angry sky today. I saw a confident coach at the press conference from Mike. He talked football. When he talked football, when he was just sitting there having to literally listen to Jerry talk about all the other stuff, And there was some points in the conversation, which I don't have the actual video. I didn't want to pull that up. But you could see Mike was like, oh, it's me? I can go? It's my turn, y'all? I can speak, Jerry? You can tell he's on a leash. And then when he talks football, I was like, man, it's so refreshing to hear Mike McCarthy talk because we're talking football and he's keeping it football. So when he talked football, Big Sarge, yeah, but when he was, everything else did not look confident. It just looked like a guy that was a hostage in a hostage situation that, help me, ask about a formation, ask about practice, ask about something football so I can talk football. And I hate that for him. I do. They ain't getting out, Angry Scott. I'm not feeding in. I'm gonna let y'all feed in. There was a couple super chats. My bad. Let me get to some right quick. And then with the phone lines have hit, so I'll hit the phone lines. We got Chamon Lee, King Element. Appreciate you.
Super chat.
Sky, would you be willing to keep both Zeke and Pollard if it costs us around $15 million a year? How's that possible though? But no. I don't think you need to dedicate $15 million to the running back room. I would like to use it elsewhere, but how would that even be possible? Toby.
Super chat.
Appreciate you. He says, will you go read my super chat from earlier, please? I got you, brother. And then Toxic Sky, Jerry
Super chat.
Made it worse for the angry fans. He did. Toby, what'd you think about us signing Adam Humphries? I think he'd help the wide receiver room. Also, if we're signing an offensive tackle, who's available you like? Yeah, Adam Humphries is the Cole Beasley light. It'd be the same thing to me, though. Adam Humphries or Will Fuller. Cole Beasley, Will Fuller. Because I feel like Adam Humphries, Cole Beasley is a bit redundant because I think James can do those slot things. I'd rather go get a guy that can do something that we don't necessarily have on the team yet. All right. I think we got everything here on the super chats. Let's go ahead and hit these phone lines because I know y'all got a lot to say. D Shift came through first. What's up, D Shift?
Man, good morning. I wasn't gonna try to call, man, but given it was the first press conference, it was a must, man. Because man, I think Jerry for so long has been able to control his media, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he even said it, like he got relieved when some of his guys started asking the questions, those fluff questions. And then because when heavy hitters came in, they were giving them, some questions.
And he redirect real good, didn't
he? He was ready, but he wasn't ready. Like he thought he was ready, but he wasn't ready.
Chill said, hey, you just talked about your successes. Well, what successes for the Dallas Cowboys in the last 25 years have you had? And he started talking about, hey, man, those successes, we're going to look at them, ain't going to be the same as those zeros in the championship. What? What the hell kind of answer was that, Jerry? So,
remember, he's never trying to be trite.
Not to be tried.
So, as the GM, you can't talk about your rookies making an impact and then allude to, well, you see what we just had in last year with Micah.
Yeah.
So
and did he say?
I know that doesn't happen every year.
Yeah. Like, well, then Jerry, what are you talking about then? Well, Micah Parsons came in and made a difference, but that doesn't happen all the time. We know that, Jerry.
Now we're not going to be cute, but I think we got some real great guys. And I mean, come on, Jerry. Like I get it. Like I'm excited about the rookies as well. But I mean, I've been a big optimist with our offense overall, right?
Mm.
But at the same token, these are real important questions people are asking you, and the way you're not even trying to exude like they're trolling at this point. Mike McCarthy sitting up loud. I'm not used to getting all this talk. This is Jerry's show. This is Jerry's show. Yeah, this is Jerry's show, Mike, and you're perfectly cool with playing the puppet.
Mm.
And he's building it up to the point to where next year when he gets his third opportunity for a job, he can say, well, I wasn't able to control things. So if you let me control things, I'll build you a winning program. Yeah. We all know how the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones are.
Yeah.
Stephen Jones totally was dancing around all the questions pertaining to cap. pertaining to what,
Can I say something,
their lack of
D-Shift?
spending.
On Steven. I will actually, and y'all might want to mark this down here, 9:15 on July 27th, 2022. I'm going to actually give Stephen Jones some credit yesterday. I don't think Steven ran away from as many questions as Jerry did. I think Steven gave his normal answers that he's done all off season and was pretty direct on and gave us the Stephen Jones answers, right? So I don't think he went out of character. I think he remained in character and he didn't dance around as much as Jerry. So go ahead and mark this down. I'm gonna give Steven a little bit of credit.
That's kind of scary though, because that character is what kept us from ultimately, just kind of pulling off these trades and these investments,
Yeah.
Just since I guess Brandon Carr, really from what I can really remember, and I don't know, man. I just even to me, I think. Do you remember the CeeDee Lamb talk? There's a question about CeeDee Lamb, right?
Mm.
And I remember them kind of dancing around, not even. That was another thing they weren't direct about. And I forgot how the question was contextualized as pertaining to, how if CeeDee was going to be. It was definitely about him being the number one. But, at this point, it was just, like you said, they came out ready to. And I think, big thing is just the new media, right? You guys being able to control the narrative now, the people being able to, just because y'all get the people involved and we don't look like absolute idiots all the time, I know we say crazy things sometimes as fans, but we're not as skeptical as they've been able to kind of control us when they just had their media over controlling things. So I don't know.
Well, there's a lot more smart fans than they think. And I think a lot of the smart fans are just, in Toxic's term, are waking up. I hate to use that term. But I think a lot of the smart fans see through the BS now, and the hopium is not reigning over them as much as it used to.
I think it's the platform, because like I said, we've never really had a platform.
Yeah.
The first time I can remember being able to actually go back and forth with a context creator as yourself was with, I think, 2016. I think there was a Big Game James show on Facebook was the first time, and then I just started seeing those shows, y'all shows kind of just popping up. I started seeing Vach and Law kind of incorporate those things into their shows, and the people have been able to come through and be able to say, Jay, we're not that dumb, I get it. You get to control what's said on ESPN, the newspapers, but overall, we know Jerry. So I'm gonna get off the phone, bro, and just listen to what you got to say.
All right. What I'm gonna do, D-Shift, is I'm gonna take out this opportunity to segue in a way. He brought up the lamb question. Now I'm gonna jump over a couple of audios and read some things from the presser. But you brought up CeeDee Lamb. Let me get to it here. They asked Coach McCarthy about CeeDee Lamb, and I love how he steered this answer into how and why they're going to use him the way they're going to use him. So let me go ahead and cue this up right quick so you guys can get a little bit of a listen here on what he had to say on one CeeDee Lamb. Here we go.
The biggest thing with CeeDee is, just like most young players, is he's given more opportunities just based off of, the position he's playing, whether it's the flanker position, the F position, his ability to line up in a 2x2 in a 1 slot, in a 3x1 in a 3 spot, in a in a 1x3 in a 2 spot. So just the flexibility of opportunities, which obviously we're going to need as an offense, because the way the defense will focus on him. So I think he's had a very nice, path to this point. If you look at his production last year, so he's definitely ready. And but he when you talk about the flanker position in this offense, that is the premier number 1 spot for our receiver group.
Muted there. I actually like that answer from Mike McCarthy. We've been talking about, at least I've been talking about, having guys be more in one particular spot. I hate to say that because I want to sound like, hey, I want CeeDee Lamb or so-and-so to be 90%, 80% in one spot. I don't mean that. But when he broke it down into the sense of, hey, paraphrasing here, we don't got the other guy here to take away the coverage, so he's going to be that guy that guys are going to try to take away the coverage for. So we got to figure out a way to scheme him open, move him around, right? That's scheming, essentially, without saying the term scheming. How do we put CeeDee Lamb in position to still get him the rock when we know teams are going to be focusing on him? So part of me, I'm encouraged hearing Mike McCarthy talk about it. Now, if Mike McCarthy was the guy, doing all the game planning and calling, I'd feel even more encouraged. Now we just have to see Kellen Moore execute that. You know what that means? That means going away from, hey, it's going to take what the defense gives you, and it means going more towards your best playmakers. And as we get through some more of these audio clips here, he's going to talk about how you're going to have to count on the youth and things like that. And you're going to have to count on the youth. But early on, it will definitely be a bit of a balance you're going to have to do here, because you can't overly count on these young guys early on. You got to rely on your CeeDee Lambs, your Zekes, your TPs of the world, your Dalton Schultz, and teams are going to know that. So you have to be able to scheme your best players the ball. I took that away from what he said. I just hope Kellen then moves forward with that, and it's not, all right, Lamb is going to be here and here, but hey, 1, 2, 3, it ain't there. We're going here, and that's that. Nah, find ways to get your best players the ball, period. And maybe we'll see some of that at training camp. Maybe we'll see some of it today. Doubt it, but and we'll see some in the preseason. But that's kind of what I took away from that, is that they're looking to scheme CeeDee Lamb open without using that term. And again, that could be me just over, dissecting the situation. All right, we got some more calls, and trust and believe me, we're going to get to all of them. I know y'all got some opinions on everything, but like I said, I'm going to get through the drama part of it, and the clips I have here are mostly football things. Even Stephen Jones, Stephen Jones brought up some things that matter to me. Randy Gregory, Amari Cooper, Lyle Collins, available, all that does not matter anymore. I thought this press conference we were going to talk about the football aspect of things, but boy, he came out firing on the defensive, and I was like, oh, okay. All right, Jay. Let's get to B Bird right quick before we move on. What's up, B Bird?
Hey, what's happening this morning? Scott, how you doing, brother?
What's good with you, man? I know you was cringing yesterday at this thing.
I was, but again, it's something that I expect, right? I've seen these guys for a long time operate, and what I'm finding, I think, Sky, is that y'all hit upon it. I think that was D-Shift the call before. These fans are becoming more knowledgeable. We have more access to different type of media than we had, say, in the 90s and early 2000s. We have you guys, and y'all becoming prominent in this industry. And, we just got a lot more ways to get information than just what the Cowboys feed us. So what I'm trying to say is getting a little bit harder to pull the wool over our eyes.
Yeah.
And, it's just very hard, man, because also, too, that it's just the facts out there. I mean, we're talking 26 years without an NFC Championship game, so you can say a lot and do a lot, but at the end of the day, the results speak for themselves. And so people are, every year you get more and more fans saying, okay, what's going on here? And even fans that, say, 5 years ago were, real positive about the team and, and Jerry and all these other things, but let 5 years go by and the same thing happened. Now they start scratching their heads. So wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? So as this thing goes on, you get more converts against Jerry and Steven than you do.
I had a guy at the show. For those that have been here over the years, I wasn't always like this. 5 years ago, I was that kind of, I don't want to say blind. I would never consider myself blind, but I was just overly optimistic because how couldn't you be after you bring in Dak and Zeke and things like that? Because you think, okay, here's positive momentum. But like you just said, 5 years go by so fast. And what has ultimately changed, right? Where is that positive direction, right? So then people had a guy tell me when we were doing the Super Show, well, Sky just hates every player on the team. That's how I know you ain't been listening to me. Which, if you've been listening to me and following me like you have, B-Bird, you can sense and feel and see the shift of frustration of losing. That's all it is. It's frustrating. Yeah. When the same outcome happens and we're watching other teams around the league do things that you aren't doing and having success. I think that's natural for a fan to be frustrated. I think it's natural. But I digress. My apologies for interrupting you. I just wanted to put that out.
No problem. I just thought that yesterday press conference, they just seemed noticeably uncomfortable, compared to the 2021 year. And I think what happened in 2021 was they had a plausible excuse. Dak got hurt. Going into this camp, Dak was hurt the year prior. Our record was bad. Scott, me and you both said that he was going to have double-digit wins last year. So it was a lot of optimism. Hey, we get Dak back. We got, our receiving corps one of the best. Our defense, is kind of struggling, but we got a first-round draft pick and we got a new defense coordinator. He could sell the hopium, right? And that's what it was. He just doesn't have hopium to sell this year. And him being up there right now, that's why they were defensive, aggressively defensive, to be honest with you. Wasn't much smiles on their faces or anything like that, man.
They was on defense mode, bro. Defense mode.
Yeah. And they knew they had to be. And I think because they hearing from different medias, from different people and different fans, and it's some uncomfortable questions they have to answer, and the answers aren't good. There's a lot of deflection yesterday. When point-blank questions were asked, they went on and babbled and rambled about things and then never really got the answer to some of those questions. And I was like, yeah, because you can't. Like, you can't answer that question. And so, it's just – I'll tell you this. This is an analogy, man. I like – if you get identical twins and split them at birth, and you go put them in a house with a loving mom and a dad that, kept them in check and everything, that one twin is probably going to, turn out bad. But if you get the other twin and put him over here with a alcoholic, womanizer, they got babies outside the house, and then the mom is a spoiled brat, got everything from their dad, and never had to work for nothing, within that kid, wait a minute, that's actually the truth, right? That's what Jerry Jones really is, right? He really is an alcoholic, womanizer. And Stephen Jones really is that spoiled brat. They never had to work for something. So when you put that's just the culture that we have on that team, man. It's hard to break that culture, man. You get a good player. I'm scared for Micah because you get him in that culture, man. Next thing you know, you got to have a personality to be able to overcome that thing, man. And so I don't know if you can do it in that press conference. Didn't give me that. But did you hear the part when he said that he had $23 million of the cap and he may not even use it this year?
Oh yeah, we was definitely gonna get to that. Let's talk about it then.
Okay.
He
that was
both of them. I think Jerry and Steven talked about how they called it the what do they call it? The dry powder. What? Oh,
that was
dry
crazy
powder.
But doesn't that?
Go ahead.
Doesn't that go back to the urgency I always talk about, the lack of?
Yeah.
Because they are not going to lose their jobs. They can just take $23 million and just push it down the line.
Yeah.
See, no other GMs have that right to do that. They have to win now. That's why. So you see, and some of our fans are talking about, well, Julio Jones, we didn't want him, progress stopper. Let me tell you something. Teams that are trying to win now, it's never a progress stopper, right? See, that's for young teams that's trying to build to be a playoff. That's a progress stopper. You want the young guy to get in and be ready to go by the time they get there. They shouldn't be a progress stopper for a team that went 12-5, won their division. It shouldn't be a progress stopper. You're getting people in to make you to take that next step. That's why, like Julio Jones, if our team was if Dak was growing in 2016, no, I don't want him because we're not ready to win at that point in time. But we're ready to win now. And so Julio Jones, those kind of guys, kind of veterans, should have been taken into consideration. That's why Tampa went got him because they're ready to win now, man. And those 5 games that he may play for, they could be a difference between home field advantage and going on the road to Green Bay or somewhere like that to playoff.
Look, and again, I hate to go to the Rams, but there was some people saying the same thing about Odell Beckham Jr. He's washed up. He's done. He's only going to play 8 games for the Rams. Well, damn it. He played those 8 games, and they won the Super Bowl because of Odell. I ain't saying just because of Odell Beckham, but he helped them win the Super Bowl. So, for teams that and they didn't go get Odell Beckham because so-and-so was hurt. Remember, they got Odell Beckham when Robert Woods was on the team and not injured. So they didn't look at it as like, man, Odell's going to progress stop Van Jefferson. Huh?
So let me.
I'm not saying go get Julio Jones. I'm just saying, a veteran like that.
Correct. So one of the things I noticed with Jerry, and I want to just get your opinion on this, him and the local media. I think Jerry does a great job of befriending those guys, having these big parties for those guys. getting those guys on his side. And like I remember I think Clarence Hill, I think he asked about his mom or something like that, or I can't remember what it was. Jerry did.
Yeah.
And but I think he does that strategically. I'm not going to say the whole thing is strategic. I think Jerry does have a heart. But he understands that these things, hey, if I get this guy, if I do this or I do that, he might not come too hard at me in the press conference. You know, we get this. If it's your buddy, man, you're not going to – we're human. So if a dude do something real cool for you, man, you're less likely to come at him like you would if you were, like, say, the national media or whatever. But I think he does a great job of, laughing with those guys and disarming those guys and
because
becoming buddy with those guys.
Well, he controls that media circle. So if anybody comes too hard at him, he can literally remove and revoke their credentials. And it could be not just credentials for said person, it could be credentials for said newspaper. No more Dallas Morning News. Yeah. Now you lose a massive revenue for your website, or a massive clicks for your website. No more SI, no more whatever. So, there's a human element to it. There's no doubt about it. He keeps his circle. I know this for a fact. He keeps his circle the way it is. Just look. Just look at the media people. It's the same people for 20-something years. And the new people that come in, it's strategic. Listen to the questions. They don't go too hard. And I get it to an extent.
Hey, man, but look here, guys. Wanted to call and just want to hear the rest of your show, man. You talk a little bit more about this press conference again. Those guys felt uncomfortable. I think it's just because of some of the things that you guys and one thing, man. Let me say this and then I'm get off. I happened to have the chance to listen to. I don't want to state their name, but I heard some guys talking Cowboys on YouTube. So let me listen to these guys. And after listening to them, I just want to tell you I appreciate you more now than I did before. You and Sky and Boss and all that, man, because y'all do a real good job, man, because in comparison to some other people I listened to, like last night or whatever, and I'm not knocking them. They probably have somewhere to grow to, but it's just like some of the takes were just real offhanded, and I was like, I see why I listen to Sky and Boss and all those guys. But I wanted to tell you that, man. I appreciate you, man, and I'll be listening off there. Man.
Thank you, B-Bird.
Yeah.
I always say it's a strong community, but I will say this as well. It is a very saturated community, so sometimes you got to sift through certain things. All right, let's get back to a couple of the football takeaways. This one, he talked a little bit about Micah Parsons in regards to B-Bird. Let me get to what Mike McCarthy had to say about Micah Parsons. He said that he lost a little weight, but he wouldn't really go into the exact position that he'll play. But this was his quote. He said, "We've had a whole year to implement the schemes around that. He's put himself to take a big second-year jump. His impact will definitely be part of our defense of success." Now, when he was talking, that quote was about how teams will look at him and attack him this year. Listen, if he lost a little bit of weight, not saying that that's a negative thing, to me, again, I feel like that's more LB than it is defensive end. So I think you'll see Micah just all over the damn place. Can you imagine Micah? I mean, he was 250, 246, 250, something like that last year. So it could be somewhere around like 240, which means he might be a tad bit quicker, a tad bit faster. Jeez. I mean, come on. Come on. Coach McCarthy also he emphasized reestablishing an identity during this time period. We can go back to the Zach Martin quote from yesterday where he talked about the number one thing is, finding an identity and harping on the discipline and the penalties and things like that. Well, Coach said our identity this year is discipline, grit, and being fundamentally sound. And right after he said that, he started talking about, hey, man, we got to clean up these pre-snap penalties. And that's something we talked about yesterday when we got the Zach Martin quote, was that most of the holding penalties are gone from your team. That doesn't mean they'll find another person to flag if it happens. But most of those holding penalties are gone. Although Tyler Smith had a holding issue, but we'll see if he fixes that. But the pre-snap ones are the ones where you can coach, right? Somebody has said in the comments, Jimmy Johnson put the fear of God in these players and Kenny Gant talked about it. Troy, Mike, Emmett, all those guys talked about it. That if you made those type of mistakes multiple times, you would be disciplined in a way. Somebody said something yesterday that was interesting. Oh, well, they benched Connor Williams because of the holding penalties. This is true. And Ben put his ass right back in there. But nonetheless, I wonder if there will be more discipline in regards to any pre-snap penalties that happens this upcoming season, because they definitely cost the Cowboys a lot last year in general, and on defense as well. He talked about having to reel the guys back. I don't want him to reel them back. I just want them to be smarter. I just want them to be smarter in regards to that. Let's get back to the lines. We got 502 on the horn. What's up, 502?
Hey, this is first time caller. This guy, what's up?
How you doing, man? Appreciate you calling in. And how long you been listening? Out of curiosity.
I just discovered you guys a couple months ago.
Okay.
I'm a truck driver, and I love listening to you guys while I'm on the road at night. And I just happen to be up for a live show for once.
Well, appreciate you, man. You be safe on that road though when you are driving. But thank you for joining the nation with us, man.
So you was talking about some coaching earlier.
Yeah.
And, one of the things that's always bugged me ever since I started talking about Sean Payton is, why can't we have all of maybe it's the Madden player, the lifelong Madden player in me that I used to always love loading up on every top coach, even if he hired head coaches and putting them at defensive coordinator. And, well, why can't Sean come in and run the offense, push Kellen out of the way, and keep Mike, Sean, and
they're humans. Whereas, I can force Sean Payton to be my OC on Madden. You can't tell, a guy who's been a head coach, Super Bowl winner, successful, by the way. I thought he had a successful season last year, to have a demotion if he doesn't want one. You know what I mean? So Sean Payton wants to be a head coach, I'd imagine. If he came out and was like, hey, I'd take an OC job, you're right, bring him in. But I doubt that Sean would want to do that.
I was just thinking, with the way Dan did, he took a step back and said that's what he loved to do, was be a defensive coordinator.
Dan got fired. Yeah, Dan got fired. I feel like Dan had to reestablish himself and prove to the rest of the league that, hey, I can be a head coach once again. Maybe he could have got a head coaching job again, right? But Dan said, I wanted to prove myself. Whereas, do we believe, let me ask you, do you believe that Sean Payton needs to prove himself as an OC to get a head coaching job again?
Oh, not at all.
Yeah.
But I'm talking come in and be the highest paid offensive coordinator, but probably even more higher paid than some head coaches.
Maybe the head coach on his own team.
Jerry Jones would dish out the money, and because there's no salary cap for coaches, so you pay him whatever.
That would take. They would have to put their egos to the side a lot, man. And I have it'd be hard for me to see how for Sean Payton to look at the team and how things are being ran as a guy who's been a leader of a team for a decade and a half and say, you know what, I'm going to just let the ship keep on sinking over on that side. I'm going to just worry about mine. I feel like you would get some headbutting going on between the two. And I don't know, and I like confrontation, but I don't know if you want confrontation amongst coaching. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whereas I don't care if I have the front office and the coaching staff having confrontation, I think that's a bit different, because get me the guys I think that'll work best here, as opposed to, the coaches who need to be in sabbatical big time on game weeks. They don't got time to be fighting. So,
right.
Hell, we saw what was it? The who got kicked out of the New York? Was it Colombo? Colombo said something to one of the coaches. I think it was the head coach in New York. And they got into it, and he got fired. So, not saying that Sean Payton would do that. I just can't see those two guys meshing at this point in their careers. But I digress.
Right. And really, I had one more kind of off topic. I haven't really been brought up yet. Was the wide receivers and the Cowboys were number 24 in the league in the red zone last year. And one of the things that I think would be amazing if they could get going is TJ Vasher. Teach that man to do nothing but go up and get the ball and be a red zone threat.
Oh, I mean, I tweeted something. Did y'all see TJ Vasher had on the Get Your Popcorn Ready TO shirt? He's probably the one wide receiver aside from the rookie, right, that I'm really going to be eyeing on, because if he can find a way to improve as a receiver, I don't care if he plays special teams. Just show me something as a receiver, because I think he could be a weapon, especially like you just said in the red zone. But I do want to correct you if I'm not mistaken. I do want to correct you. And you're not the only one that said this. The Cowboys weren't 24th in the red zone. I'm about to go here and double check. I want to say it was like top 15, top 12, might even have been higher in the red zone last year. So I'm going to go look as we're speaking. But
maybe in scoring is what I'm thinking of, or touchdowns. And then scoring-wise, getting into the red zone and scoring, they was up there.
They were way higher than what I thought. They were, according to team rankings, they were 6th last year in red zone. So I kept hearing that, and I was like, I don't recall that being a thing all year, but it had its spurts for sure. But yeah, they finished 6th, and they were number 1 at home. I think with the reason why they were so high is because at home they were so good at it. On the road they were weird.
Right.
Yeah. So get better on the road. I'm with you.
All right. Look, yeah, I'm been a lifelong fan. I really just more trying to dive into more in depth of the team. I'm learning a lot.
That's what we do, bro. That's what we do here. We go in depth, man. Appreciate you, and drive safe out there on the road, man.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Keep up the great content, and I'll talk to you again some other time.
Thank you. Yeah, I meant to bring that up. I think it was on the Super Show. Somebody had mentioned on it. The Cowboys were 20 whatever in the red zone. I was like, nah, I don't think they were 20 something. In fact, they were top 10. But if you split it, I think if you do home and away, let's do home and away. Since we got it here. Right? Therein lies your issue. On the road, they are bottom of the league in red zone. At home, I want to say they're number 1. They were number 1. So, and it was that statistic late in the year, I think going into the Arizona game, where it was like, hey, look at Dallas at home. Number 1 yards, number 1 points, number 1 red zone, 1-1-1-1-1. Then Dallas on the road, it was way worse. Way worse. In fact, I hit up Professor Rowe the other day, and I said, man, I went back and looked at the second half of the season at some of these kind of bigger games, and I'm going to include a few of these NFC East games because they were road games. On the road at Washington, at the Giants, at Kansas City, against Denver at home, and at home against Arizona. I might be missing one more. Oh, on the road against New Orleans. In those 6 games, because a lot of people say Cowboys offense ranked number 1. In those 6 games, they averaged 315 yards and 18 points per game. There's context to it. I'm not going to lie, right? There's the injuries and things like that. It was 1 game, two games. 3 games get concerned. 6. That's not some mistake. That means you aren't really learning from, you're not adapting, you're not, you know what I mean? So there were 6 games, and in those 6 games, at least 5 of those things were extremely important at the time. And they averaged 18 points per game and less than 320 yards. So there is an issue, right? That later in the season, whether it doesn't matter what happens, you need to adjust. Definitely when you got your number 1 guy. We need to see some of that going into next year. Couple more on the phone. I'm going to get to y'all, I promise, but I want to get to 2 more of these audio clips. All right, so another big talking point coming out of yesterday was Stephen Jones and the money and the cap. Of course, he was going to talk cap because why wouldn't he be talking cap? But they had asked him about, going out and getting guys and whatnot, and he kind of basically confirmed what we've been talking about here on this channel, right? Which is, hey, let's get to training camp and let's see what happens, and if we have reservations, we'll go sign somebody. Being reactive as opposed to proactive. Not how I would do things, but at this point in time, I mean, there's nothing wrong. We're in camp now. You know, there's nothing wrong with it right now. That thought process 2 months ago, I'm not with it. That thought process a month ago, I'm not with it, right? But right now, what are you going to do? You might as well just go see what you got at this point. But he also brought up names like Lamb and Ball and Willetsko and things like that. When he brought up Ball and Willetsko again, that kind of reaffirmed they're rolling with these young bucks. Hence why I say youth movement here in our thumbnail. But I want you to take a listen to him speaking about giving these guys, he doesn't call them question marks, he calls them opportunities, giving these guys opportunities and what he'll potentially do with the cap space if need be. So here we go.
And some of these guys just need the opportunity to get more chances. I mean, a Michael Gallup, he's coming off his injury, but he's a guy who you'd like to see get more chances to get balls. And I'm just looking forward to see what this camp brings for our young group. We certainly do have some dry powder if we need to use it. I've always said about cap space, it's where you've massaged it to that point. I mean, you can create cap space. You cannot have cap space if you want to have it out there looking like that to where you can create it when you want to. But I do think we're sitting in a good spot. One, to see what these young players can do, but two, if we need to make improvements to this roster and there's opportunities to do that, then we'll look at it.
Pretty much basically what we were saying over the last couple of days, last week or so. It just felt like they're just going to sit on this and wait until we get to training camp, see what happens, and then eventually sign somebody if they don't like it. A lot of people think that's the move. I mean, at this point, it is. What other options do they have at this point except for to go out and get a guy, which I would have loved to done that before all this. I would have loved to be proactive as opposed to reactive. So what you're here, you're in camp, practice is starting, see what those guys got, and if y'all don't like it, sign them. But don't take long. That's all I'm saying. Don't sit back and be like, all right, you know what, we're going to wait till Seattle. We're going to wait to see if X, Y, and Z looks like X, Y, and Z against Seattle or the second game. You got 2 practices prior to you getting into that second preseason game. If you don't like what you see by then, when I say 2 practices, I mean you got 2 opportunities, 2 joint practices. If you don't like what you see, please go get somebody to help this team. Please do it. Because on one hand, again, kind of talking out of both sides of your mouth, you said you believe you've done everything that you could possibly do in free agency. You love what you've done in free agency, which ain't much, but you love what you've done in free agency, and everything is great to go. And then on the other hand, you're saying, well, we can use free agency later on, if need be. How about we don't get to the if need be? B. Bird talked about progress stopping and how these other teams don't look at it that way. They look at it, give me the most talent as possible. May the best man win. Hell, we might need you anyway. That's how I look at it. And besides, can you seriously look at the roster and say to yourself, damn, we got some amazing depth. The depth on this team is awesome. I don't think you realistically do that. I don't think you realistically can do that. Are you top heavy? I think so. Is the depth as good as last year? I don't think so. So I don't think your progress stopping anybody. What? Oh, your undrafted linebacker doesn't get a chance to play special teams because you got a guy that's more proven and he's going to help you more on game days. So I would have much rather have been proactive, but here we are being more reactive, and it is what it is. Where you at?
It is what it is. It is what it is.
King Element Sky, I can feel your anger. It gives you focus. No anger today. No anger. I will not let that aspect of the press conference get to me. I'm pulling out some of the things that I really wanted to get at in regards to football, King. So I'm not giving y'all angry Sky today. Not today. Stephen Jones, a.k.a. Lowball Bobby. Edwin This is the risk you take, Edwin. Yep. By then, the very good players are going to be gone. The only thing left will be garbage, dumpster juice, as always. And here's the thing about it. Right now, you're in the veteran market is not flush of a bunch of great players as is, right? So you're right? Other teams are going to be doing the same thing. So we'll see. By the way, y'all, it was April 19th. Stephen Jones said, "We are not done in free agency." Since then, he signed Ryan Nall. Rick, what's good with you, man?
Yo, what's going on, Skywalker? How you doing, man?
How you been, brother? It's been a minute since I heard from
you. Yeah, it's been a little second, man. My whole thing is like this, man. Oh yeah, like, share, and subscribe. I'm looking at them likes. They ain't up enough. Y'all need to get them up for this good show.
Well, I appreciate it. This might be the show. A lot of people might not like it though, because it ain't one of those, I'm not waving the pom-poms today. It's a little bit of some frustration going on with that bullcrap press conference, but so I ain't mad at him.
Oh, this ain't for the fair weather fans. I get you.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Stephen Jones got to show improve. We tired of him running his damn mouth at these press conferences, and Jerry sounding senile because he getting up in age. Much respect to him. And because my whole thing is like this with Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones, he put himself in the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? He did what he had to do when it was his time back in the day to show improve with his team. It's Stephen. Stephen has the control of the team. So all eyes is really on Stephen. Jerry's just a check holder. He holding the checkbook right now on everything, and he controls behind the scenes. But my whole thing is just like with these players, when they have problems with Stephen, as far as their contracts, and they got to call Jerry to come in and fix everything for them. I think it needs to happen the same way when this dude is not putting more talent on his team. You know what I'm saying? We already see that we got the stronger coaches on defense. You know what I mean? And it's been a long time since we had a strong defensive coordinator. So why not put the chess pieces on the defense? You know what I mean? So when it's time, when the offense is not doing their job, the defense is going to come up with some turnovers, some pick sixes and turnovers and stuff like that to change the game. That's my whole thing with Stephen Jones, man. It's like, yo, man, I understand that you want to cherry pick and inch out the money when you to your liking, but that's not what wins championships. We seeing the formula. Every championship team, from what I've been seeing, they always go out and acquire certain pieces that they know that they need to better their team. You know what I mean? The teams that's just there, they just need a little bit more pieces to get over that hump. And every time I've been seeing when been coming down to these playoff games with us, we just need certain pieces to get over that hump. And this dude's not willing to spend his damn money and tell us some bullshit. I'm getting tired of that. You know what I mean?
Preaching to the choir. You preach to the choir, man. I mean, we talked about it a bunch on here. You definitely have to learn that aspect of that game. Somebody I said something on Twitter where it was like, hey, Jerry wants to win, and I agree. I think Jerry does want to win. I don't think he knows how, and I think that's why he needs to put people in position that do. And the only way you can do that is go out and, hey, I'm gonna go to grab somebody from Tampa, grab somebody from Pittsburgh, or any of these successful teams over the last 15 years, right? Grab somebody from Kansas City or Buffalo, or teams that have done things in a certain way. That's how. Go look around the league. Look at some of these GMs. They've been either on multiple teams, or they've had success, and you go get their successors or guys under them. Jerry won't do that. He wants to do it his way.
Yeah. Hey, you know something else I was thinking about, Sky? Not to cut you off, man.
Yeah.
You know something else I was thinking about when it comes to Stephen Jones? My thing is like this. We know that he can't get fired. He's not going to get fired.
No.
We do know that. He's a part of this organization, whether we like it or not. But the thing that make people move, if you especially if you're from the hood, the couple of things that make people move, and especially rich people too, got something to do with them too. A good ass kicking and messing with somebody's money. If they start messing with them checks, Stephen Jones checks, and say, well, you ain't doing right, Stephen. I'm gonna cut some of your money. I think Stephen Jones will get a fire lit up under his behind to do something for this organization.
Are you saying like fans? Or are you saying Jerry should take some money from Stephen?
No, Jerry should take the money from Stephen.
Brother,
I know it's not going to have his thinking. You know what I'm saying? But
he's the heir.
It's got to be
the heir to the throne. He don't give a damn about his paycheck. He give a damn about his net worth. There's a difference.
Yeah. You're right. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking about the net worth now. Since you made it like that, I'm thinking about that net worth. But it's got to be some kind of way that his cage get rattled, man, because he doing it the lame kind of way. He going about it lame. Don't get me wrong. He been piecing some of these teams together pretty okay, but we all know it takes superstars to win big games.
The rattling has to come from the coach. That's why I keep saying, like, they have to bring somebody in here that's going to speak up in that way and not be afraid to butt heads with them. But they're not hiring guys like that, brother. But yeah, man. Hey, Reek, good.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
Good to hear from you, bro.
Man. All right, good hearing from you too, man. All right, Cowboy Nation, peace.
Yeah, I ain't worried about his check. I feel you though, Reek. Like B Bird said, like many people say, these guys, they don't have pressure. That's why when they brought up the cap, Steven was like, he was chilling. He was like, hey, you know what I mean? Yeah, give these guys opportunities, and if it doesn't work out, we'll go out, and we also got to worry about paying these guys in a few years, Micah Parsons, and we got some of these good young players coming up for contract. Why are we talking, Steven? I would love to hear a general manager be like, yeah, well, Justin Fields is coming up on a contract extension. You know what I'm saying? Sean McVay is probably not sitting there talking about, well, Aaron Donald, we just re-signed him, but we got to keep that cap together. 3 years now, we might have to re-sign him. Y'all almost got angry, Sky. I had to take a deep breath. Let's get back into some football stuff here. And then we'll be done with these clips. Michael Gelkin. Shout out to Michael Gelkin. He asked Mike McCarthy, are you comfortable with the youth at the wide receiver position? And this is what McCarthy had to say. He took that as the opportunity to talk about the youth in general and how much, the Cowboys are going to really need them. So take a listen to that right quick.
I'm extremely comfortable, and I think it goes back to what we talked about earlier. There's always a jump that you have to have with every team that you put together. So there's always going to be a void of experience where your youth has to step up and contribute. And I have great confidence in that. I have a lot of experience at it. So, and I think when you see a leader such as Dak, it's because it's always the extra. It's the workout. So, away from, the off-season program, whether it's in Miami or at his home. So it's the details and the extra reps and so forth, because
my bad, y'all.
That we work in now, and I think our players are definitely of the right mindset. These guys spend a tremendous amount of time together, away from the facility, and that all those things are important. So the youth of our football team will factor early in our season, and it'll probably be at the wide receiver position. I think you have to anticipate that. That's the way we're training the team, and that's the formula that's going to be part of our success.
Yeah.
And some of these guys.
Apologies. Yeah, we talked about this. I think it was after Dak Prescott came out and basically said the same thing Coach said. We're going to be relying on a lot of young guys. You can take that either way you want to take that. You can take it as, hey, the Cowboys do a good job keeping their team young, which they do. If you go look at historically since Dak Prescott and Zeke have been here, they haven't been one of the oldest teams in the league. But if you go on the other side, that also means that they're not really bringing in a ton of quality veterans to kind of help you get over that hump. But yeah, coach is right. We are absolutely going to be leaning on a ton of this youth, which can help out, especially early. But I think they're really going to need these young legs later, right? What you don't want to do, though, is what happened last year with a Oso Digizua, with a Chauncey Golston. These guys kind of hit that rookie wall because you were Bohanna, who wasn't like he was spectacular, but when these guys had to play more than they were really supposed to, I think you kind of saw it catch up to them. So early on, absolutely going to have to lean on this youth. I'm going to be honest with you. I hope we don't have to lean on the rookies too much. Love Sam Williams. I don't want to be going into the games like, damn it, all we got is Sam Williams now, Oppo or D-Law because X, Y, Z. I don't want to have to lean on Jake Ferguson year one. Matt, well, let's go because Tyron Smith got hurt. So there's got to be a balance. You got Dak talking about it. You got Coach talking about it. They look at the makeup of the roster and they see we're going to have to really lean on these young dudes. Okay, we're going to need them to step up. You could take that either way as a fan. You can take it either way. But the bottom line is they're going to have to once again play above expectations. There is no, hey, let's just kind of bring you along and if it doesn't work out, cool. No. We're going to need these young guys to work out. We're relying on them. All right, let me lock up these phone lines. And we just going to roll with the phone lines. I got to be quick. I don't got clock game like my boy, but you got to be quick because I do have a meeting. And I'm a little bit OT right now. So as promised, I'm going to get to y'all and finish it up. 856. What it is, what it do. 856 going once.
Hello?
Yep, you are live.
956, brother.
Oh, 956. My apologies. I got to get my glasses fixed. Maybe make that bigger. My apologies.
No wonder I was like, what the hell? You got to get the Merkle glasses, brother.
What's up, man?
No, it's me, Joey, brother. Joey Vela.
Oh, what's up, Joey? See, they don't let me save the numbers no more, so it's hard to.
Yeah, I know. Now I finally got some time. I usually listen. I'm always working. I do docs over here in Padre, over here in Texas. But right now I'm at home doing fucking. I made a list of all the shit you were talking about. I'm ready today. And first, shout out to the Bomb Squad because y'all are the shit. That's the reason I went to the YouTube. Shout out to you, Sky, because damn, we wouldn't be here without you. So. Appreciate that.
I won't be here without y'all, man. Appreciate it.
And first team, weren't we undefeated for a while last year on away games?
Undefeated for what do you mean? I mean,
on away game. Didn't we have an undefeated streak on the away game?
I mean, they lost the very first away game of the season.
Remember? But after that, we had a good streak, didn't we?
I mean, they won 7-1 in general. I don't know how many of those games were on the road, but yeah. What's your point though? Yeah.
No, because I remember saying we did like shit, and I was like, I remember we did a little streak. I think we did all right. I know we usually do like in general we do like shit, but I remember last year we did a little. It was better than usual.
Are you talking about? We were talking about red zone offense on the road. Yeah.
I was saying just in general how we do on away games.
Not just the red zone offense. The Cowboys were 28th in scoring red zone on the road in the season. So they were never this amazing red zone road team.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, if you really want to be honest with you, they were never a really good scoring offense on the road if we're keeping it a buck. The best I think scoring offense that they had was against the Patriots. I think that was the one road game they won off. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel you. And Cap Girl over here, what do you think he's stalling for? He's stalling for what? For when someone gets hurt?
Sounds like it, injuries, and if they don't like the way a guy like a Josh Ball or Willetsko or Jabril Cox or Gifford or any of these young guys look, if any of these guys don't look good, then they'll go out and sign some depth. Yeah.
Yeah. Or you think he's saving it for the youngins?
That too. I think we forgot to go into that with B. Bird. He specifically talked about saving the cap. Jerry called it, and they both called it powder. They called it dry powder, and they didn't have to use the dry powder this year. They can use it next year.
Talcum powder.
Talcum powder. Yeah, I mean that's their weird way of. So I think we're going to roll with that now. It's no longer pie. We're going to call it dry powder. But yeah, so they will be saving some of it for next year, probably to sign a Trayvon Diggs, a CeeDee Lamb, and then they'll use that as an excuse not to go out and sign high-end, high-quality free agents. They'll say, oh, well, we had to sign Trayvon Diggs. You could have did that anyway. But anyway, I digress.
Hey, Will, so what do you think? You think these youngins are good enough fire to step up to the plate and, make at least do enough until the vets come in as reinforcements?
I believe some of them can. I do think Jalen Tolbert can be productive, especially if they scheme it right for Jalen Tolbert. It's not going to be easy for him if he's, it's not going to be easy for him if teams go into the games like, hey, listen, this is what we're going to do. We're going to put the number one corner on Jalen Tolbert, and we're going to try to double up CeeDee Lamb with the Oppo guy. They're going to have to scheme him in that sense. So part of me, I believe in some of these young players' talents. Do I believe in the coaching to put them in the right position? Defensively, yes. Offensively, there's a question mark. I'm not going to lie about
it. All right. What do you think? You think Cap Girl would he bring someone in?
Calling him Cap Girl. Go ahead.
You think he'll bring someone in if we need it?
He said he would. So I take his word on it. Last year they brought in Malik Hooker.
Yeah, he said a lot of shit, but you already know how it goes.
No. I think they would. I mean, they can't realistically, if they see Josh Ball's not good, if they see Waletzko's not ready, and their plan is not to put Tyler Smith out there, they can't realistically say, all right, we're good to go into the season, right? Nah, I feel like they signed somebody. Same thing with wide receiver. If they say, all right, we like Jalen Tolbert's traits and his development, but we're just not ready to rely on Jalen Tolbert for 6 games or whatever, 4 games, whatever Michael Gallup may be out. Yeah. I mean, they did it last year, so hopefully they carry that aspect over into the training camp.
I know they're not healthy and I know they're not playing, but imagine having like a, what's it called? Like a Sean Lee or a Des Bryant as vets for our teammates. Fuck, man. That'd be glory.
Prime Sean Lee, prime Des Bryant, absolutely.
Yeah. I was going to say, last one. This is you. This is all for you. If you were Cap Girl, what the fuck would you do, Will? What would you do? How would you get this shit going? What would the last steps to be? Who would you get in? What would you do?
If I had no restrictions, I'd go out. Yeah. I'd probably try to make
fantasy. Do your thing. I want to hear you.
I'd have beefed up this I'd try to make this defense an all-time great. I'd go out and try to go get me a linebacker that might be on fringe trade block that I think Deion Jones. I think could come in here and help the linebacker room. I would have signed another nose tackle / one tech to beef up the interior and said, "May the best man win," even if I got to cut a Quentin Bohanna. If we're talking about prior, I would have went out and signed one of those other free agents. There's a bunch of them that could have came here and helped you out, but there's still some moves that could be made, but they're not doing that. They don't want to give up capital in that way. So, but that's what I'd do. I'd go out and make a trade for a Deion Jones, and see. I don't even think there's any more nose tackles, but I would have signed like a Nakeem Hicks or a Campbell or one of those type of veterans. Bring in a veteran quality player on this team. Anthony Barr is still out there, but there were players better than a guy like that. So that's what I would have did. Joey gone. Appreciate you, Joey. Cap Girl. And he's not playing either. He's not like, oh, my bad, Cap Boy. It's straight Cap Girl. I peep we have some Stephen Jones disciples in the building. What's good, Tuck? I thought the press conference was whack, Richard. I'm sorry, man. Of course, I didn't like them whining and complaining about players not on the team anymore and getting on the defense mode. But if you stuck through the show, you would have seen I pulled out the things that I thought were good stuff from the press conference, and most of it was the coach speaking. Today, I think we will get a just coach press conference, so we'll see how he reviews the first, I don't know what kind of practice this is going to be, but the first actual training camp practice. And if there's anything noteworthy, we'll talk about that. But hopefully we get some video, we get some updates on how certain players looked or whatnot. But hey, man, it might have been a beautiful press conference for certain people. You know, everybody different. Some people, you know, they want to hear their owner come out on the defense mode and whine about the fans being frustrated in an offseason where there's scandals, there's perv scandals, there's baby mama drama, there's botching free agency, there's botching trades, did nothing in free agency in general. Sure, hey, you know, if it makes sense to you, by all means. Just for me, as an owner, don't come out on the presser and get upset that you have to hear the negativity or the criticism that was created by you. That's all I'm saying. What is it? If you can't handle the heat, get out the kitchen. That's all that is, man. Other than that, I want to talk football, which is why I pulled out McCarthy's stuff, which is why I can't wait for McCarthy's press conference. For the first time in a long time, I can't wait for a McCarthy press conference, right? Because he's going to talk football, which McCarthy's not a bad presser if you really just listen football, right? He don't want to talk about that extra stuff. So I advise, and this is what I did after I watched it live. I went back, fast forward Jerry. There's nothing you need to hear about. Seriously, there is nothing you need to listen to about Jerry Jones. Pull out Mike McCarthy's clips if you're trying to get a quick little glimpse. And there are some Stephen Jones things. Like I didn't even touch on the Dalton Schultz. He said, and Professor O brought this up, Stephen Jones said, hey, Dalton Schultz is going to be here for a long time. So, you know, they want to get a Dalton Schultz contract done, but unfortunately they can't do it till next year. So that would be my advice to you guys who want to sift through that. You want to sit through Jerry's blabbering, that's on you. But there is some quality stuff to pull out of that. Did I sneak two more calls in here? Man, I got to hurry up. 213 and 205. We got to be real quick. I lost track of time. What's goody?
I ain't going to take too long. What's up, big dog? What's up, Big Scott, man? It's Mel,
Oh, it's
bro.
Mel. What up, Mel? And my apologies for keeping you on hold. You too, 205. I done kept y'all on hold, man. My apologies. It's one of those days.
No, it's all good. It's all good. And I had every intention, bro. I had every intention to call in and go in on Jerry and go in on Steven about them whack-ass press conferences. And I had every intention to call out all the BS. But you know what? I said, I'm not going to do that, man. Let's actually try to talk some football. Right. Because it only gets us more pissed off. It only gets us more upset, man. It only just, you know, stabs us in the abdomen more, man. So I'm like, you know what? Actually, man, let me actually call in and actually talk football, something that we actually can see on the field, man.
Sure.
Last year, we saw Terrence Steele make a jump that none of us saw coming. I don't care who you are, you did not see that leap of play coming from him. Going into camp this year, man, what guys are you looking at to make that big jump, or that we may not? I mean, obviously, if we can't see it coming, you may not have a candidate. But I mean,
no, we can
project. Looking at, man, who are you looking at, man? You feel like, hey, this guy really needs to make an unforeseen jump, man.
Unforeseen. I wish you didn't use that one, because I'm kind of foreseeing a Jabril Cox type of, you know,
he's one on mine.
But I think Jabril would be one of those positions where we need that, right? We need to see him take a jump to the point where they're like, hey, LVE, we appreciate you, man. We're just going to have you, you know, be a reserve guy. Jabril can't come off this field in a sense, right? So, you know, I would love for Jabril to be that guy. Now, we talking rookies, or are we talking about veterans or young.
Now let's leave the rookies out. I was gonna say I want to leave the rookies out of it because it's too. I mean, although Jabril kind of, because he didn't really have a full year last year, but
so let me. I'm gonna try to switch it up. Is it who I think or who needs to?
Who you think? Who do you think?
Maybe
if at the end of this season,
I might be a little biased on this one. I think Bo. I'm not gonna say as far as Terrence Steele, but what I'm gonna say is I think Bo getting some off-season peanut butter in the system, getting stronger, a year under his belt, been very quiet. Nobody's saying nothing about Quentin Bohanna, right? Now he got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. I don't know if he does, but I'd imagine he does because they drafted Ridgeway. And he's needed. He's needed, right? Like, we need that big guy. He's 6'5", 340 pounds. We need that big dude in the middle to step up. So a bit of I'm not really fully answering it because do I fully believe he's going to take a Terrence Steele jump? I don't think that. But maybe it's me wanting him to. I think I want Quentin Bohanna to take that Terrence Steele jump, who a lot of people down on Bo after year one. A lot of people were down on Terrence Steele after year one. And we saw what happened. So I would love for it to be Quentin Bohanna so that we can fortify that middle of the defense in the run department. So I'm gonna go Bo as the other guy.
Okay. What about? I'm gonna throw one out there, man. And I don't think this is I'm not taking like a huge leap with this name, but and I think you might have spoke on it too. I feel like Kelvin Joseph, man. I feel like coming out of camp, I would love for Kelvin Joseph to be in a position where he's at least one of the top 3 corners on the depth chart. I would love for that to be a situation where coming out of camp, if everything is behind him, if Kelvin's one of the top 3 corners coming out of camp, I think that really does something for our secondary, which probably right now is probably, in my opinion, the strongest room in the building. The secondary as a whole, from corners to safeties, I think is probably the strongest unit in the building. And if he can be one of the top 3 in that room, and one of those guys sits down, I would like it to be number 26. I can't remember his name. Jordan Lewis.
I think Kelvin is a little bit of a hanging fruit because expectations. You're a second round pick. My expectations is fully for you to not have to. You're supposed to do that, right? Whereas Terrence Steele
stepping out on the limb.
Terrence Steele was an undrafted free agent. Jabril Cox was a 4th round pick. Big Bo was a 6th round pick. So I was kind of more staying in that lane. Like, who are these guys that we don't expect to? I fully expect Kelvin Joseph to take that jump because he's a 2nd round pick with that type of talent. You know what I mean? And you're supposed to come in here and be the cornerback too. Bo ain't supposed to come in here and be the starter. Jabril Cox, according to them, ain't supposed to be the guy to beat out LVE. So,
that's true. You got 2 first rounders at the position.
Yeah. So I'm looking at as I agree with you. Kelvin Joseph, I would love to see him take that year 2 jump, but I expect him to. And if he doesn't, then he is not meeting, I think, the club's expectations.
Yes, sir. Well, man, I know we got other people. You trying to get
off,
bro?
Just one more.
Man, glad to see you still doing it, man, and excited for the camp. Can't wait to see what reports we get out of there that are football related. I'm gonna try to stay away from the BS and keep doing your thing, bro.
Thanks, fam. And that's the main one. Try to stay away from the BS, bro. Try. Appreciate you, Mel. It's my guy. 205. Send us out. What's goody?
What's going on, Sky, man? What you got going on, man?
Hey, I'm chilling, man. What's up with you?
Not much, man. You know this landlord,
I was about to say something, but listen, I thought somebody was trolling me. I'm like, is somebody coming on here sounding like landlord, or is this landlord?
No, man. I've been trying to hang on. I said, whoa, I did a whole shift on here.
My
but
bad,
you know,
bro.
I rock with you, man. So
man.
I still want to rock with you, man. But I just got a couple comments. We're gonna be quick.
Go ahead. What you got for me?
I heard you talking about Mike McCarthy. He's just not he's no media guy like that. And I said it in somebody's comments. I kind of like the fact that he's not a super media guy.
Yeah.
It's certain things that I try to hold my hat on when it comes to coaches. And I guess I try to rationalize it so I can feel better about him being my coach. Maybe, I don't know. But when it was Jason Garrett, I tried to tell myself maybe he could be the smartest guy in the room. That's what I was hoping for.
Hey, brother.
But, you know,
it ain't
that
just
didn't
the
really
coaches.
work out.
It's the team in general. Lots of fans, I see it every day, are trying to talk themselves into, you know, hey, man, we winning the Super Bowl. Relax. Baby steps, man. Baby steps.
not to that extreme, but I'm just saying you kind of want to be able to deal with what you got going on. So when it comes to Mike McCarthy, I kind of hang my hat on him just being a real pure football guy. He's not like a sharp knife like Jason Garrett supposedly was, but I feel like he's just all about football. And I believe that was kind of the philosophy that we needed coming into Dallas. But I don't know if it's going to blend well with how Hollywood, you know, how much media we get as being the Cowboys. But that was just one thing I wanted to say about Mike. But the other one was when Jerry said the half-ass availability. That was insane. See, but this is going to be quick, Scott. I just think I got a different kind of interpretation about how Jerry was talking on there.
Okay.
And like, you know, Jerry old, so you gotta kind of decipher what he means. He kind of speaking parables almost, so you gotta kind of figure out what he's talking about.
We always gotta try to decipher, and then when you do decipher it, either A, he ain't said nothing, or B, he just talked himself in a circle or out of both sides of the mouth. So, you know, like, Jerry, I'm good. But go ahead.
Exactly. But when he said half-ass availability, most people took the bait and thought he was talking about the players that was hurt and when they be there half of the time. But I kind of thought, I got a theory thinking that maybe he was trying to say, like, you know, Coop was there, but he was never 100% most of the time. And I think that might be where he was coming from. Like, no lie, he was saying he was there, but he was halfway there. He would, you know, Cooper catch a pass. I love Cooper to death. I'm a Bama fan. But you know, Cooper catch the ball and then roll over and say, ouch. He always had something going on. So he was there.
I totally
But he probably
disagree.
was trying to say that he went.
He's talking about.
This a theory.
He's talking about. Coop might be involved in that because of the practice portion of it, not the game. Cooper missed 3-4 games in his career in Dallas. And the only reason why he missed games last year was because of COVID. He had a shot at Cooper in regards to the COVID, if you paid attention. To me, the half-ass availability was Lyle Collins coming in out of shape,
him too.
And coming out of shape, missing full seasons, getting suspended, and things like that. That was more of a shot to him. Randy as well.
Yeah, Randy too.
But the Cooper shot came to the doing what you got to do for your teammates and that whole little comment and things. I think he was more so talking the Vac situation. I don't understand how you can say Coop ain't available when Coop was literally available every game, 10 times more games than those other dudes. But you can include him in that group because of practice. I wouldn't say because of the game. When do Coop catch a ball, roll over, say ouch, and come out the game and never go back into the game? Coop was literally on the sidelines. Coop was literally on the sidelines with a machine gun going like this to get back in the damn game. And y'all want to talk about he rolling over saying ouch. Y'all crazy, man.
Now look, that's true. But look though, for him to have to use the machine, where would have to come before that, Scott? Come on now.
And what did he do? What did he do in the game that he was using that machine? He caught the game-winning pass.
He did.
What are we doing?
I'm just trying to rationalize what Jerry's saying, man. It's difficult. You know, we gotta have a pen and a paper. We got to diagnose what this man is saying. And, you know, like I said, you're right. He toughed it out, but you can't sit up here and tell me it wasn't always a dark cloud over Coop. with the Cowboys saying, is he 100%? Is he
Bro,
all the way there? You can't tell me that. You can't tell me that.
So why ain't he talking about Ezekiel Elliott? Played on the PCL. He literally literally was playing half-ass on the field and not giving you a damn thing for 11 games. Not blaming Ezekiel Elliott, but he was literally out there playing half-ass. But we're bringing up Amari Cooper.
Yeah, I'm saying no. I'm trying to see where he coming from. Like, you right about Zeke. Zeke was he was the definition of half-ass availability. So I feel what
Tyron
you're saying.
Smith doesn't play.
You got to look at it. You got to look at it from who giving them the check. You got to look at it from who giving them the check. Cause Jerry looking like, man, I'm giving this dude all this money, and he ain't never 100% ready. He there, but he just, he ain't all the way ready. He got plantar fasciitis every game. Something wrong with him every game.
Sir, DeMarcus Lawrence, is he there every game?
I mean, look, that's what I'm saying.
Is
I think
Tyron
it's a difference
Smith
between
there every game?
Look. This all I'm saying. That's why I said if you look at it from that way, it don't make no sense at all when he's talking about people just being injured.
Because
but
landlord.
That's why I feel like he's saying they was halfway there.
Landlord.
That's why I'm saying. That's why I look at it from that aspect.
Landlord, there was a shot at Amari Cooper.
It don't make sense.
You missing it completely. The shot for Amari Cooper was there. It was personal. It was vaccination. It was him calling out the team, leave the eye at the door for the we and all this stuff. The shot for Coop was there. It was an easy layup, and you decided to try to do some crisscross spin-a-rooney, and you missed it. Just an easy layup, fam.
Hey, you might be right. You might be right.
You hit us with the swaggy P, shoot the three, and turn around, and you missed. Come on,
man.
Hey,
like I said, look, you know, it's a difficult task trying to understand Mr. Gerald Wayne Jones, man. Come on, man. I'm trying. Hey, you gotta stay. You gotta hang in there just to keep listening. So we love him, but he's Pawpaw now. So sometimes you gotta just tell Pawpaw to be quiet and go take a nap. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, landlord, I appreciate you. You got the angry sky out today. I did have it in me to get out, but I wasn't going to get it out, and you let me get it out. So I appreciate you, King, landlord. Appreciate you, man.
Hey, long as we get a good show, that's all I like, man. I watch every morning, man. I appreciate what you do. Don't get mad at me now.
No,
I gotta rile people up.
Come on, landlord. You know how I am. Ain't nobody mad, man. But hey, listen, let them know where they can find your stuff, dog, because you're growing, and I think people need to know where to find you.
I appreciate that, man. Landlord from Alabama on YouTube, man. I actually got a video dropping in a second. But, I appreciate all the love and support, man. And Sky, you one of the GOATs, man. I love y'all shows. Y'all boys the truth, man. Y'all part of the reason I do this. So I appreciate y'all, man.
I appreciate you, landlord. Appreciate you, dog. We out of here. Hey, I don't want overtime. My apologies. It's going to be kind of a hard exit because I got a 10:30. But y'all definitely got the angry sky out of it. I didn't even want to go in on Coop today. I didn't even want to go in on I didn't want to do that's the stuff I said. We had a show on that. I was going to leave it to the side. Leave it to my man, landlord. He brought it out. The hypocrisy in that entire part of that is what I didn't want to talk about because it's filled with so much drama, so much hypocrisy, so much lies and personal things that it is what it is. It was a personal situation. He even brought it up. It ain't about ability. Of course it ain't about ability. We know that. Because Coop eats. But I digress, man. I digress. Do me a favor. Y'all probably not going to hit the like now after I snapped out. But if you enjoyed the show, go ahead and hit that like button on the way out. Subscribe, of course, if you have not. And Mo is back now from vacation. So he will be back on the channel with the A to Z Sports Prime Time Show. My apologies for the hard exit, but I got to go. Love y'all to death, man. See y'all tomorrow about 8:30 4:30-ish. Appreciate the donations. Appreciate the calls. They were on fire today. The chat was lit as always. And we'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have some real actual football to talk about. We can leave this drama issue away. Sick of it. Love y'all. Be out here. Peace.